Good morning, everyone. Well, let's do it right. It's Hawaii. Aloha. We're going to start our program today with an oli by Hinalei Moana Wonkalu. As many of you know, I am David Louie. I'm the Attorney General of the state of Hawaii, and it is my distinct honor and privilege to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for today's celebration. Today is a great day in Hawaii Nei. And with us here today, as befits a great day such as this, we have two superstars here today to start our celebration, Willie Kay and Amy Hanaiali'i. This is the first time that they have performed together in 10 years. And please take it away.
Hi, mahalo. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Everybody ready? You guys ready? Oh, congratulations. Say something, Tira.
Aloha, everyone. Good morning.
We haven't been together for 10 years, so we're kind of out of practice. So, by request, we got this song that was asked, and Tira found out that I was, Amy, sorry. Amy found out that I was coming down, and so she asked if I needed any company. I said, I would love to have your company over there for this very special historic occasion. So we work up on we rehearse, which I don't normally do. We
In the
rehearse
other
this-
ballroom.
We rehearsed this one piece, and we hope that you like it and enjoy it. And thank you, Governor Abercrombie, for giving me the call and the opportunity. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life and peace. You may see I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. So I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Someday I'll wish upon a star. Hello, everyone.
Mahalo. Come on, give it up. Thank you, Willie and Amy. That was beautiful.
You're welcome.
There are rare moments in life when any of us are able to stand up and take action that changes history and promotes justice and equality. Today, we take this action. Today, we move forward into a new era of aloha for same-sex couples who want to get married and share in the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They say that justice delayed is justice denied. And for almost 20 years, justice has been delayed and denied for our gay brothers and sisters who wanted to get married. But no longer, no longer. You know, justice is not simply a matter for the courts and the law books, but it's the commitment of each and every one of us to liberty and mutual respect. So I am personally touched, and I feel privileged and honored to have been a part of this effort to achieve this milestone for the people of Hawaii. And I want to thank everyone who helped in this effort, everyone in this room. I want to especially thank the attorneys and members of the Department of the Attorney General who toiled long hours in dark rooms. Please stand up and be recognized. And I want to thank the legislative leaders, Senator Clayton He, Chair Rhodes and Chair Luke, who chaired 5 days of hearings. And I want to thank all of the legislators and former legislators who have come here today. Please stand up. And most of all, not just because he's my boss. I want to thank Governor Neil Abercrombie for his leadership in calling this special session and for him appointing me and bringing me along on this journey so that we could do this together. Governor. Together, we have made a difference. Together, we have made a law that establishes justice and equality for gay and lesbian couples while also preserving religious freedoms for those who disagree. I want to thank all of you for your support, for your aloha, and for your efforts in making this happen. And now I'd like to call on Senator He to make a few remarks. Senator Clayton He.
Aloha pumai kako, aloha kakahiaka. Good morning, everyone. I asked the majority leader, Senator Galataria, if he had a handkerchief. He said, use your tie. So if you see me using my tie, you'll know why. I am very pleased. I'm honored to be asked to say a few words on behalf of the Senate. This journey is beginning to collapse on me, I think. I've been telling people that, and really I believe it, my role in this journey has been a small one, but an important one, and its weight is becoming to rest on me at this time. So if you bear with me. I saw Senator Matt Matsunaga and Senator Avery Chambly, and I want to tell you, without them, without their foresight in 1997, without their leadership and their compassion for humanity, we would not be here today. So I would like Senator Matsunaga and Chambly to please rise so some of us don't know who you are. And the reason is because when that Khan Amendment was passed, they knew that the future would be necessary for the future to be decided by the legislature. And they put that in. And that's why we embarked on the journey this year. I saw Blake Oshiro and I thought of all of the tough times it's been for him. And I wanted to shout out to Blake. I also wanted to acknowledge the legislators from the House and Senate because of the courage and commitment to see this day through. They brought humanity to the issue, and in particular, in my mind, is Senator Tokuda, who spoke as a mother. I'm not sure, is she here this morning? There she is there, Senator Tokuda. And finally, but not in the least, we've recognized our governor, and without his risk-taking leadership, we would not be here, Governor. And he's my friend. So let me thank all of you for making this day possible, all of you seated here. And let me share a story. Yesterday, when my staff called it a day, I was in the office, and Diamond Grace, who's my staff attorney, said, "Senator, maybe I should lock the door." I said, "No, leave it open." And there was a knock on the door, and in came a young lady with a young child. And she was dressed in her queen's outfit, and she had tears in her eyes. And she said to me, "I want to thank you for what you did." And I said, "Well, it's really a lot more than me, but thank you for taking time to come visit." And she had tears that welled in her eyes, and she said, "This is my daughter, a little girl." And I said, "Well, I'm pleased to meet you." And I said to her, "What is it about this day that causes you to come?" And she said, "I have a partner." I said, "Well, terrific. I'm glad to play a small role in your life." And she said, "No, I want to share with you what we go through." And she said, "And by the way, I'm a classmate of Senator Maile Shimabukuro," to give you an idea of her youth. And she said, we have two daughters. One is in kindergarten. And I want you to know that when we went to a school, the person that interviewed us finally asked, "Are you a two-mommy family?" And she said, "Yes, we are a two-mommy family." And the person interviewing her said, "This may not be the school for your daughter." And that's the human side of this morning's event. And she said, so we went to another school. And I'll tell you the name, Sacred Hearts. And she said that I told the lady interviewing us up front, I said, we are a two-mommy family. And the woman at Sacred Heart said, your daughter is welcome here. So what a nice story. Someday, as the song Imagine depicted and says to us, this world will accept all of us for who we are. And I'm pleased to play a very small role with my colleagues in the Senate, and it is an honor for me to be a member of the Senate with them and celebrate this day with all of you. I could never have imagined that I would play a role in such a profound, yet in my mind, a really simple thing to do, bring justice and equality to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator He. And now for some remarks on behalf of the House, Representative Chris Lee.
First, I want to thank Senator He for bailing me out and giving me all the Kleenex I could possibly want. You know, this is, it's quite an honor to be here on behalf of the House, on behalf of everybody. I can't fathom the gravity of this battle, this debate, this issue that has gone on long before I've been around. And there are a number of people who've been fighting that fight since before I was born. House members who put their careers on the line to do the right thing. I just want to ask them all to stand today. Please, stand up. Vice Speaker Jackie Young, Blake, Marilyn, Jim, everybody. These are the folks who paved the way so that we can have this debate today and we can have this moment here in Hawaii. Without them, we would not be here. You know, it's definitely been a long and difficult journey, but it has been an important one. Because here in Hawaii, we are all minorities and we all deserve the same aloha. And people criticize the timing, but it is never the wrong time to do the right thing. And I really want to thank everybody. I really want to thank everybody for standing up, because it is not easy. It is hard. But you know, out of this debate, there are no winners or losers, but there is benefit to us all. Because through this difficult time, we have grown to understand one another better and put ourselves in the shoes of others. And I think that is what brings our community together, because at the end, we are one ohana, we are one family. And if we're gonna overcome our greater challenges down the road, we're gonna need to join hands and work together. I think this is a positive step in that direction that's gonna allow us to do that down the road. You know, there is a vast middle ground in which we can all live, work, and play here in Hawaii. And I think it's an honor to be able to help focus our community, to join hands and move forward. I really want to thank, on behalf of the House, Speaker Joe Suki. Majority Leader. And he really deserves one more round of applause, actually. He's a fantastic guy. But along with him, Majority Leader Scott Psyche. And Chairs Sylvia Luke and Carl Rhodes. And of course, all the other legislators who stood up to make this happen. And not only them, but also the Senate, Chair He, Senate President, leadership, and the members there, Governor, and most of all of you who've shown up to make your voices heard at the Capitol at a time when they needed to be heard most. Because without you there, we could not do our jobs, we could not hear from the community, and we would not have the support to do the right thing. So thank you so very much. And so finally, I want to close by just saying that, it's been hard, but let it never be said that a group of committed people together can change the world, because today we did. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lee. And now, a man who needs no introduction, the Governor of the state of Hawaii, Governor Neil Abercrombie.
Thank you very much, David. Aloha. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Mahalo nui. Before I begin my remarks, I commented to some today and to my wife that it never, ever occurred to me that I would one day have both the opportunity and responsibility to do something that is as profound in the change that is to come in a few moments, as Patsy Mink was able to accomplish with Title IX, that literally changed the universe for women for all time. Another universe is about to change for all time, and I could not have sustained my commitment and had the support necessary, emotional and otherwise, to do that without my wife, Dr. Nancy Ellen Caraway. And together, we have been instructed and informed in a way that helped to sustain our perspective and our perception of what we needed to do by the work of Tony Kushner. We have a particular relationship. We spend a lot of time arguing about Picasso's role in the history of art and so on, and great playwrights. And Tony Kushner has been a signal influence in our life.
Aloha. I think we need to get a little sassy. It's very somber. I wanted to use the words of my favorite angel in America, my intellectual and artistic soulmate, the great American playwright, the greatest, I think, Tony Kushner. And this is what I want to say to all of you through the words of this erudite, soulful artist, Tony Kushner. The world only spins forward. We will be citizens. The time has come. By now, you are fabulous creatures, each and every one, and I bless you. More life, the great work begins. Mwah.
We begin virtually every discourse with one another with the word aloha. And we all cling to that. We all think to ourselves that we know what it is all about, what it should be, what we want it to be. And I thought today, with this profound change that I mentioned about to take place, that perhaps I ought to re-examine it. Because I certainly was going to get up like everybody else and say aloha. And then I started thinking, okay, what am I going to say after that? And I thought, well, maybe I ought to think a little bit about that word, about aloha, about what it means. And I remembered that we actually have the aloha and the aloha spirit in our laws. It's in our Constitution. Aloha spirit is the coordination of mind and heart within each person. It brings each person to the self. Each person must think and emote good feelings to others. In the contemplation and presence of the life force, aloha means kindness, to be expressed with tenderness. Unity, to be expressed with harmony. Agreeableness, to be expressed with pleasantness. Humility, to be expressed with modesty. And patience, to be expressed with perseverance. I thought of that especially because when I was asked what my remarks might be, do I have any remarks when the Senate agreed to the House version of SB 1 and it had passed the legislature. And the last remark that I spoke about courage, I spoke about determination, and then I said, and I wanted to thank the legislators, thank the legislature for its patient perseverance. And I remember, where did I get that from? And I thought to myself, and then I realized I had channeled the very words that we have as the foundation of our state, our obligations to each other as citizens in the state of Hawaii, to express ourselves through aloha by patience and perseverance. I think that signifies exactly what this is about. And so then, having discovered that in myself, I picked up my Constitution of the United States. I have a little history of it. It includes the Declaration of Independence and the chronology of it. It even has the Articles of Confederation, the predecessor to the Constitution. And so I decided to reread and to say today what it is the legislature's just done. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. I submit to you that SB 1 is the epitome of the First Amendment in action. It's easy to criticize the legislature. It's easy to criticize individual legislators. It's easy to critique or criticize the actions and words that are spoken. But I will tell you, in time to come, when the history of SB 1 is recorded and commented upon, as it will be There'll be a lot of master's degrees and PhDs put together around this process over the past, well, but this immediate one, the past 20 years. But what the legislature had in mind all the way through, including those who ended up in opposition to the bill as it finally emerged, was to see to it that we were able to coordinate civic responsibility and to show respect for and pay attention to the religious beliefs of others that might have put them in opposition. We're human beings. We cannot guarantee that the hard work that the AG and his staff did in working with Clayton and Carl to make certain that this respect manifested itself in the language of the bill. We can't be certain that every word and every nuance has been met. That's what amendments are all about. I just read the first amendment to the Constitution. We couldn't even pass the Constitution originally without putting 10 amendments in. So it doesn't strike me as strange that we may not have a perfect vehicle here today, but we understand that this is in fact the result of a legislative process which had as its fundamental premise fidelity to support for upholding and defending the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Hawaii. And that was done by legislators. Legislators who acted on a premise that they were here to represent, they were in the legislature to represent the greater interests of the public, not necessarily to express their own particular views. And I had recalled and was grateful to have my good friend Professor Henningsen of the University of Hawaii remind me of what I knew was the quote, and I couldn't remember where it exactly came from Edmund Burke's quote in his acceptance speech as when he was elected by the voters of the city of Bristol to the Parliament of Great Britain in 1774. And I quote, "Your representative owes you not his industry only, but his judgment. And he betrays instead of serving you if he sacrifices it to your opinion. Parliament is not a congress of ambassadors from different and hostile interests, which interests each must maintain as an agent and an advocate against other agents and advocates. But Parliament is a deliberative assembly of one nation with one interest, that of the whole, not where local purposes, not local prejudices ought to guide, but the general good, resulting from the general reason of the whole. You choose a member indeed, but when you have chosen him, he is not a member of Bristol, he is a member of Parliament." And what happened in this legislature is people set aside even perhaps their own particular views of what might or might not be the greater good, but listened to what their role was in terms of upholding the Constitution. And in moving forward SB 1 in such a manner and with the motivation of acting as a member of a legislature acting for the greater good. We all have special interests. Everybody in this room has a special interest. This bill is a special interest. It's not a question of whether it's a special interest, it's whether it's a special interest that manifests the public interest and not a private interest. And that's what this bill represents, a melding of the special interest involved, that is to say, the equity associated with marriage, and the common good and the public interest as a whole, which is the upholding of the Constitution that binds us. There have been commentaries in our history with regard to the question of religion and democracy. This is not new to us here in the 21st century. Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Virginia Act for Religious Freedom in 1786, the Virginia Act for Religious Freedom. This question has been before us. for a long time. Subject opinion to coercion, whom will you make your inquisitors? Fallible men, men governed by bad passions, by private as well as public reasons. And why subject to coercion? It's to produce uniformity. But is uniformity of opinion desirable? I say no more than face or stature. Madison, in 1833, said, I must admit, moreover, that it may not be easy in every possible case to trace the line of separation between the rights of religion and civil authority with such distinctness as to avoid collisions and doubts on unessential points. The tendency to a usurpation on one side or the other, or to a corrupting coalition or alliance between them, will be best guarded against by an entire abstinence of the government from interference in any way whatever, beyond the necessity of preserving public order and protecting each sect against trespasses on its legal rights by others. That's what has been the process here in achieving SB 1. The history is there. But now that I've gone over the history to myself and thinking about this and establishing a solid, I think, legal and legislative foundation, you come down to the question that moves me the most, and that is to say the human dimension, the dimension of depth, our relationship to one another. One of the first things that I was able to absorb when Nancy and I visited Queen Liliuokalani's home, Washington Place, that is now my honor and privilege to take responsibility for such time as I'm allowed to be governor. There was a picture there as we explored the home of the Queen. And for reasons that are entirely obscure to us, someone had affixed to this picture of the Queen in all her regal splendor the following words: if we could but see our likenesses, could we not learn to be tolerant of our differences? That's the Queen speaking. That's the legacy of Aloha. That's the guiding principle that I try to follow. I feel very deeply about the responsibility of being the Kia Aina, the governor. It's more than just words. It's more than just aloha. It's a profound and deep and abiding responsibility. If we could but see our likenesses, could we not learn to be tolerant of our differences? That's the Queen's admonition to us. I think that SB 1 satisfies the Queen's desire that we look to see our likenesses with one another and not to see our differences. And finally, I was moved deeply by some words given to me by our dear friend, both my wife and I, someone with whom we've shared our highs and lows, our friendship, who has had to be hidden for all of her life in her heart, feeling that she was marginalized and shut away. She said to us, "Today was a moment that my community has fought for many, many decades. I have spent my entire life waiting for equality. I have spent my entire life waiting for equality. To be visible in the world I live in, to be a part of the whole, this courageous, colorful, inspirational, endlessly talented, brilliant like a star community. Finally, today, now, all those who have been invisible will be visible to themselves and the whole world. I know there have been other occasions when, because of the significance of the situation, multiple pens have been used with multiple strokes in order to sign. But today, I hope with all of your indulgence and with your aloha, you'll allow me to take this koa pen and sign fully and completely, and that you will all approve of the fact that I intend to give this pen that signs this bill this day to Judge Levinson. Done.
Thank you all for coming. Savor the moment. Shake hands and hug those around you. Today we made history. This will conclude our program. The governor will take questions from the press in a little bit outside, but feel free to enjoy the day, and remember today.